Hey everybody, this is Javier Balderramos. This is Planet Texas Podcast. I have a guest with me today. He is the CEO of Kingstone Studios. Now you ask yourself, like, Kingstone Studios, why does that sound somewhat familiar? Well, they do a lot. They do graphic novels for Christians, as well as they're now working and branching into America-based comic books, America-based history. I have my guest, Art Ayris. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How are you doing today, sir? Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely, Javier.
So is there anything I missed somewhat of the Kingstone Studios? We can actually go through everything.
No, you pretty nailed it. Keystone Comics is our faith imprint, and the key product there is the Kingstone Bible, which is the most complete graphic adaptation of the Bible that's ever been done. And then July 4th, we released a new imprint called U.S. Comics, and we released a lot of history. We released the Constitution as a graphic novel. And then Kingstone Studios also does movies. And we have released our second movie in the theaters, 2022, No Vacancy.
So we're talking about the movies, and you have a movie called No Vacancies, and it actually has Sean Young and Dean Cain. How did that go about?
That went really well. It did it. We're actually, Leesburg is where we're located, Leesburg, Florida, kind of near Orlando, Florida. And my church had purchased a hotel to take care of homeless families in the Great Recession. And the Orlando Sentinel did an article on it, and it just blew up with PR. The Channel 9, the ABC affiliate in Orlando, did multiple stories, and we just had all this publicity about it. We've had a couple of documentaries made about our church, and we just thought it needed to be a movie. And so we raised some money to shoot an independent film. We released it through Fathom Events in the theaters, about 609 theaters. Dean Cain, obviously Superman, T.C. Stallings, he was great. And then Sean Young, who was in Blade and Dune Runner. And the movie is available on our app now, the Kingstone app.
And then are you able to talk about the Lincoln League?
Yeah, we're working on the next movie we're working on is called The Lincoln League. It's based on one of our novels for Kingstone called The Lincoln League. And it's based on the first black spy network in America. So it's, we're just getting it together, and we're working on talent, but we're hoping to shoot that before the end of the year.
So what inspired you to become the founder of Kingstone Studios?
That's a good question. I've served for years at a great church and on the leadership team. And I used to, years past, I was the director of the children's ministry. And we have like hundreds of kids coming in. And I was always scratching to find materials to connect with those kids. And began doing some market research, and I saw that there was not really anybody trying to be like the Marvel or being the Marvel or the DC of the faith industry, of the faith world. So I said, hey, we can give that a shot. And I don't feel like I'm competing against like Christian comic book publishers or Christian publishing houses. I'm really competing against like Marvel and DC, because there's a lot of stuff they have. They create a lot of great content, but some of the stuff they have is pretty stuff I don't necessarily agree with philosophically. So we felt like, hey, we want to create our own comics, and they're really that people can read. By far, our bestseller is the Kingstone Bible, by far.
My camera fell. Oh, my camera fell down. I'm sorry about that one.
No problem.
So where were we? Oh, we were talking about. Also, I had a question. What are the challenges that face it in creating and promoting a Christian graphic novel?
Well, when we started, it was difficult it took us a couple of years to really get market acceptance because, like a lot of Christian moms and stuff, they would hear the word graphic novel and it brought up really bad connotations, So they would think of, the sexual and the violence and everything. So we said, hey, this is really good content. It's just done in comic book style. Then we kind of overcame that hurdle. Obviously, whenever you just have a new company, you always have the hurdles of just getting established in the market. And we've had a few challenges that have come along with social media, but we've worked those out. So we're doing pretty well. But, building your company has always been challenging. Of course, then there's been, not to mention, there's been COVID and inflation and everything else. So some typical challenges that everybody else goes through.
So what is your mission and vision behind Kingstone Studios?
Well, it is to build an overall media company. Really our bread and butter is comics and graphic novels. We have signed a deal with NBC Universal for an animated movie, and we're working on developing that. We're about to sign a second deal with NBC Universal on another animated movie. So, and they're also raising capital to do 2D animation of some of our products, and so we're working on that. And then the movie, we're trying to keep the comics, animation, and movies going at the same time, and hopefully we'll have a couple of breakout hits. So anyway, we're just trying not to be just a publisher, but also be actually a media company.
So how do you select the stories and themes from your comics?
We have a really good in-house group of guys, and just people I've connected to that we have fed us some good stories. Or probably the next thing will come out will be sci-fi and action adventure things that we've got kind of in the pipeline. But with U.S. Comics, we started that just because there was such a weakening down of the great American story. We really felt like we needed to do something for school kids that would be high grade comics telling accurate American history. And actually, the artist we have is Joe Bennett, who was with Marvel for a long time on The Amazing Hulk. So we have some really good art teams. With the Christian stuff, we'll probably do a little bit more, but there's the big thing we were doing with the Christian comics was the Kingstone Bible. That's really kind of our key thing. Plus, we also came out with another product called 101 Questions about the Bible and Christianity, where people who just kind of want to explore, they've got questions about the Bible or questions about the Christian faith, they can read that. But the great thing that we're excited about, in July, we released the Kingstone app, and that makes everything digital on the app. So people not only Texas, people in Hungary can get it.
So how do you collaborate with the writers and artists in order to make this happen?
Well, basically, we have the concept. They'll work on the script. The editor and myself will review and we'll make any changes or whatever. And then at that point, once we have a solid script, then we bring on the art teams. And, then you got the pencil, the ink, the colors, the letters, and we do the lettering in-house, and then we print it, publish it. We've got a 10,000 square foot shipping center that we lease and we ship out of. So basically a pretty standard comic process, but we have, obviously different content.
So what are your challenges? What challenges do you face in creating a faith-based comic team and collaboration?
Yeah, not too much of the collaboration because I know the faith market I know pretty well. I have a handle on what people like or accept or tolerate. But I guess one of the biggest things would be there would be people that really, they're just not interested in anything about the Christian faith. And so obviously they would be a consumer for us. But we have a lot of people that are not of the faith that still buy. I saw a post on one of our social media. This guy said, I'm an atheist. I don't believe any of this, but I'm going to get this Bible because it's the coolest thing I've seen. So anyway, we have all kinds of customers.
I was also going to lead into what kind of feedback do you receive from readers?
Good feedback. There's a lot of people, especially in the Kingstone comics, that they're glad that they're not There's good products that they can show their friends that's not going to make them cringe. With the U.S. Comics, we just released that just literally last month that we got everything out. So that one, not, we have some people that maybe have a different slant on history and they want to make a comment, but not too many comments. We're getting a really good response to the U.S. Comics release, and especially the U.S. Constitution.
So how do you measure the impact of your comics on your audience?
The big thing is the feedback we get on social media and on our websites where they give us feedback. We have tons of 5-star reviews. They come pouring in. We get those all the time. And we also, obviously I check the sales every day to see what is selling and how it's selling. So I measure it by impact as far as being a CEO, as far as the market impact. And then we just, a lot of it is the feedback, Javier, that we get from people. And that's really encouraging.
Like, what are some of your more memorable responses that you received that you're like, I'm doing the right thing?
Boy, I had last week, the 72-year-old guy emailed. He goes, I'm 72. I'm college educated, but he said, now I understand the Constitution. He said, I love the Constitution. Just had a lady last week that just emailed a 5-star review just saying, this is just absolutely incredible stuff. All the Bible explains the Bible so well. And then we have letters from people say, hey, I've either returned to the Christian faith or I've become a Christian after reading and understanding more about the Bible and Christianity.
So are you able to talk about some of your upcoming projects and releases that fans can look forward to?
Sure. Well, we're continuing to work on U.S. Comics. We've got the next little mini graphic novel we got coming out is on Booker T. Washington, who is an amazing American that suffered a lot of racism, but he overcame that and became just phenomenal, contributor and leader in America. We're working very hard on the VeggieTales deal that we have. The first animation movie is actually Larry Boy with that we got from NBC Universal, working on that, and we got some other film stuff happening. So that's kind of really what we have in the pipeline.
So is there any new genres or themes that you plan on exploring within your studios?
Yeah, we have some action adventure and some sci-fi that we're looking at and some fantasy stuff. Actually, my co-producer on the movie with NBC Universal, he's brought me some comic stuff that I really liked. We're looking at that. Plus, we have some more stuff of ourselves that we're creating, hope to create soon to get out.
So what is like one of the most rewarding parts of your journey with Kingstone Studios?
Hearing back from people about the impact of the comics or the movie. I wasn't in it, but one of the theaters in Orlando that showed the movie, somebody told me that people stood up and clapped and applauded and hooted for like 2 minutes after the movie. So yeah, people can stream No Vacancy. It's on Amazon, Vudu, Google TV, the Kingstone app. And it's really a very redemptive story. It's a true story, which is what kind of blows people away. But basically, the people, if our stuff can help people get into a closer relationship with God, I'm all about that.
So what advice would you give somebody that's trying to break into the comic book creators?
Run away as fast as you can. It's tough. It's really tough. We have a lot of people contact us. Hey, I've got a comic idea. I want to do it. And we say we can't look at it because, number one, I can't look at outside material, because if we created something that's close to it, then they could sue us and say, hey, I gave you that idea and you took it. So we don't look at outside materials right now. But what I would say for somebody who wants to create comics, create it, do your craft. That's one thing. Just keep doing it. Look at other successful comics and just see how they're laid out, how the story arc works. The second thing is send your stuff to some other people that can give you a real assessment of the story. Because everything boils down to that story, or the first thing boils down to story. Then you've got to have great art. Then the third thing is I would go to some writers conferences around their area, because when I really first started, kind of what really got me going was going to a writers conference. That really helped me make connections and that kind of stuff. And then the fourth thing is, if you can't land a publisher, which is really hard to do, but if you can't land a publisher, then what I would encourage them to do is just go ahead and publish it like as an ebook, or publish it as an e-comic, and try to get a following on social media, that kind of thing. So for independent comic creators, that's what I suggest.
So what is something that you would tell them if they were telling you that they're interested in faith-based content? Like, what exactly would you tell them?
Create a great story. Create a great story. Really pray and pray and seek the Lord about it. What the story is, and work it up. But again, it's the same process. Take it to people who will critique it, and then just try to make a few panels. I think if somebody has a heart to do the comics, I would encourage them, go ahead and make them. Connect with somebody on DeviantArt. Like if they're not an artist, then try to connect with somebody on DeviantArt. And even if you just do 4 to 8 pages, get it out there in social media, get it out there, get your own website, and just get started. Just get started with their story.
So how did you know that you were going to make it?
I did.
You did?
I did. We just, we had to raise capital when we started. I made investment presentations, and I even went to New York, went to San Francisco, other places, and we were not successful. So we came back here to my little town, and we began raising capital and began, making comics, and just, the machine started kicking a little bit.
So what kind of conversation did you have when you're like, hey, we're making comic books, but I want to do more? Well, what kind of like conversations are you having in that?
Well, I had done some film and television before, so it was, and people knew me, so I could go to them and say, hey, I want to make this movie. And it was not like totally rolling the dice, because I had a little bit of experience. And so we made the movie, and the movie did well in theaters. Now it's on streaming. And so it's kind of a step-by-step process. And I mean, this is over over many years. So people that are starting out, it's just really a process. And I would just do like step 1 first, and just create that great story.
And like, what does your team consist of?
Well, we have, none of the artists are located here in Leesburg, but our shipping center employees are out there. Then we have administrative office staff. We have financial, and then we're housed in one area. There's a shipping center in another area, and then all of our artists are all over the world. We have a lot in Brazil, some in America, obviously. We've used artists different places: Canada, India. I think where else? From different places. Indonesia, there's been some good artists in Indonesia. So we basically, are kind of we're the publishing hub here where we're located, but our creatives are located all over the world.
And then I was reading on your bio, and you almost passed away when you were younger.
I've almost passed away many times. Yeah. When I was 4, I was walking behind a mower. My dad didn't know I was out there. A piece of metal came out, put me in the stomach. They took me to the hospital. The metal went through my intestines. The piece of metal is actually still lodged by my back. It was a piece of wire. And then, when I was 19, I had complications from that. Very close to dying when I was 19. But I think what was good, I had gangrene, and they had to do emergency surgery on me. But I think it was good because it was around that time that I became a Christian. I really saw, I think, close to dying, I realized, wait a second, I don't know what's going to happen if I would die. And so I had this really nice older Presbyterian pastor that shared with me the basics, about trusting in Christ, believing that he died for our sins, and asking to forgive me, committing your life to Christ. And then, and it totally changed my life, which was a great thing. And then when I was 56, the doctors, because I'm a runner, and the doctors looked and they found out that I had an artery routed the wrong way, so they had to do open heart surgery. That happened when I was like 56. Then I had another abdominal challenge from that previous surgery that had happened. There was just some more abdominal adhesion. And then I had melanoma. So like 3 years in a row, I had some little challenges. But I had melanoma, and then they had to, cut it off me and give me a skin graft. But doing pretty good right now.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to see that you're doing well. So was there anything else you would like to add before we?
No, I would just encourage people that if they want to taste this, check out the Kingstone app, download the Kingstone app. It's the cheapest way to buy our materials. And, they maybe do prison ministry. They can contact us. We do a lot of our stuff that goes in the prisons. A lot of prisoners have difficulty reading. So anyway, welcome to check out our websites, KingstoneComics.com, USComics.com, the Kingstone app, and then KingstoneStudios.com.
So you just mentioned prison. So how does that work? When did you go to the actual prison complexes themselves?
No, different people that work in prisons, that have ministries in prisons, they contact us because a lot of the men and women have reading issues, and our comics are a perfect way where the people can read and engage the Bible by reading it and understanding it.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on to my podcast. And
yeah, it was good to be with you, Javier. Good to meet you. Thanks for contacting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, my friend.
This is the CEO of Kingstone Studios, and we're gonna have all the links and descriptions. Everything you send me, we're gonna have it on here. Okay. That way they'll know exactly where to go and where to turn to.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate it. So,
yes, sir.
So tell me about yourself.
Oh, I'm Javier Balramos. I have 18 years in law enforcement. I'm actually fixing to retire.
Okay.
And then I started branching out into computer technology.
Okay.
And I have my degrees in criminal justice and psychology. And then I got my certifications through Google. I'm currently got my Google IT technology certification.
Wow.
And my Python. And then I'm currently working on cybersecurity.
Good for you. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So do you go to church out there anywhere in Texas?
Yes, sir, I do.
Where do you go?
I have a Catholic church I travel to down the street.
Okay.
I go like once or twice a month. I don't want to sit here and tell you I go every week. Like I'm sure you heard that they're all just kind of I go, twice a week. And no, when I'm off duty and I have an opportunity to go, I actually do go.
Oh, nice.
And I try to go into some of these newer churches where they try to make it look like a rock show, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. So what city are you in?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Austin. Okay, cool. A lot of creative out there in Austin. That's cool.
Oh, there is.
I'm gonna get back to work. Enjoy talking with you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.